Here is my 2003 Ford F150. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm replacing my upper and lower ball joints. Now on the F150, the upper ball joint is not serviceable, so you have to basically replace the control arm. You can buy aftermarket control arms with replaceable ball joints. I'm using Moog products. Not really sure how to say it, Moog or Moog or Moog or M-O-O-G. Not real sure how that, I just call it Moog. I don't know if that's right or not. Anyway, going to be replacing my upper control arms and ball joints. I'm going to be replacing my lower ball joint. So let's get started. This is that upper control arm I'm talking about. This ball joint's not serviceable, so you got to replace the control arm. Okay, I got my wheel turned out best I can. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lube up all these bolts. I'm going to pull this 10mm off first because I'm going to break this free. There's that bolt, just a little 10mm. I can pull that out. I'm going to take off the caliper. But instead of removing the caliper, pulling the caliper and the pads, and then pull the bracket, I'm just going to go ahead and pull the bracket. And I got a little table here. I'm going to set this right here, and that's where I'm going to set my caliper right here, so the brake line's not getting tweaked or anything. But to get this off, this is an 18mm bolt right here. And an 18mm down here. My finger's on the bolt here, 1 and 2, so hopefully you guys can see that. As I said, it's an 18mm. Need a breaker bar for this. I'm gonna get this bottom one first. That was on there. Got that broke free. I'm going to break this one free. Hopefully. Watch out for this brake line here when you do this. Okay. Bottom bolt. Try to get the top bolt now. Oh, and there's the top bolt. Okay. Well, like I said, I got this line off, and this is free for the brake line. Now I'm going to just pull this caliper off and set it right there, hopefully. And I did. Pulled the whole thing off. And I'm just going to set it up here. Nice and easy. As you can see, I got my caliper, pads, and everything still attached. What I'm going to do now, look at this ball joint. It's all torn to crap and bad. So, next thing I'm going to do, and you guys don't need to see this part, I'm just going to pull these, I'm going to fight with these cotter pins. I'm going to get this cotter pin out. This cotter pin out here, this one here, holding the tie rod in, and there's the tie rod, outer tie rod. So that's what I'm going to do. As you can see, I removed all the cotter pins. Got the 3 cotter pins right there on the ground. One more thing to remove now. Speed sensor here. Since I got to pull this control arm. There's an 8mm bolt right here. Got that bolt out. Now this sensor is sometimes a real pain to get out, and you got to be careful because you don't want to break it. I like to use a little screwdriver, just work my way around it to pry it out a little bit, and just work slowly around. I'll give this a couple squirts. Okay, this is how I got it. Reached in underneath here, just kind of prying and working. And I stuck my screwdriver, I got enough room to get it in, and just popped it out like that. Pried it out, and it's out. Yeah, that one's actually really dirty. Really dirty. And now, up here, this sensor's stuck on right here, so I gotta take this little clip off. Like I said, pried it off. It sits right there. And I'm just gonna tuck it up there out of the way for now. Okay, I'm just gonna loosen this nut and loosen this nut down here. Just loosen them up. This bolt right here, it's a 20, this one's 26mm, and I want to recall when I did the other side, it wasn't this big. The bottom one was big, but the top one was like a 21mm, so that's kind of weird. Anyway, 26mm. Got that free. Leave the threads on there. And loosen this up. Okay. Got some room there. As you can see, I got that loosened up right there. A little bit of space. I got that loosened up right there. See, a little bit of space. And it popped out. That's how that goes. So it's free now. Alright, that's a 21mm. Okay, got that nut off. Sometimes you can smack on this knuckle here. Let me try that. Sometimes if you give it a good enough shock, you can pop this thing right out. That's too rusty, not working. You could use a pickle fork, but I'm going to use a tool for this. If I can get to it, should be able to. Can't see what I'm doing. Try right there, get more underneath it. That should pop off. There it goes. Rust, man. But that got her. Turn this out. I'm just going to let that hang. And now there's just one down here to pop out. See the gap there? One more time, got to pop that bolt out. You'll see. I'm going to use the same tool I used earlier. This bad boy. I'm going to use this and pop it out. Hopefully. Sometimes these things don't want to pop out. Sometimes they do. Alright, there we go. Okay. Alright, let me start cranking. There goes, boom. Popped her out. Well, as you guys can see, I've got this ball joint loose, this ball joint loose. You heard it pop off of there. So it's just hanging by this upper one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the jack, and I'm going to jack this up under the control arm to take some of the tension off this pushing down, because of this spring here. It's pushing this part down. So I'm going to release this tension by jacking up here, and I should be able to loosen this bolt and pop it out. So that's what I'm doing. Alright, see, I mean, as I was lifting up the lower one popped out on its own, and it's just hanging by the upper one. So I just gotta pick this up and loosen the nut, and it'll come out, hopefully. Alright, so just gonna lift this up, take the nut off, grab it, and it's out. Just gonna set it down right here. This fucker's heavy. Alright. Just before I go on, I just want to let me show you guys just how bad these ball joints are. This one's, I can move, kind of got some resistance, but it's really super loose, and the gasket was blown out. But this bottom one on this side, I mean, look at that. That's just freaking horrible. I don't know what's holding that thing in. That's the worst, one of the worst ones I've seen. Okay. That's, I mean, I can move that with my pinky. Just beep, 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 beep. That's really bad. Anyway. Alright, what I got here is a 21mm and a 21mm wrench. Sucker's on there pretty tight. Up, starting to turn. So that's why I got the wrench, because it's turning. So, what we got here? We got a nut. There should be a little cam piece. I'll pop this out with a screwdriver. It's a little washer looking thing. I'll have to show you when I pull it out. Actually, I'm just going to tap this from this side to drive the nut out. Like that. Bolts out. There's a little... Oh, no washer on this side. No on this one. Okay. So, see, here's that pin right there. It goes like that. And there's a little piece sticking up. There's a little piece sticking up that when you tighten it, it holds it like that. So, this was the piece I was talking about. You can mark it for alignment purposes. Not this one. Really, it fits in one way. So, yeah. Just that's how it goes in. Goes in like that. Nut on this side, this part on this side. Sometimes you'll see there'll be big cams. They're more adjustable, and you can mark them. But this one has a notch on it, so I don't know if it's in one place. But anyway, as I said, I'm taking it in to get an alignment done, so I'm not worried about it. But anyway, this bolt goes on this side. You can go ahead and take this one out now. Hopefully. Got this. I'm going to try to loosen this side up. Yeah. This one's on pretty tight. Okay, I got it turning. I'm going to stick this side in from up here, hopefully. And just turn it till I can. There we go. Oh, yeah. There's the bolt. Take the wrench out. The hammer, give it a little tap. She's out. And there's a little you can see how this piece is still up there, so I'm gonna get a screwdriver and pop it out. If you want, you can leave it there, but that's okay. Cleaning up some crap. And you can see that's the side that goes towards it. So it's going to fit in like that. And put your bolt on. And you set it down next to the other one. You don't get them mixed up. Now it's just a matter of grabbing this sucker and just pulling it out. You may have to put some pressure here, but if you just grab it and just pull it out like that, good to go. Okay, here's the new one, and this one here is the old one. And when I laid this thing over the top of it, looked perfect, so I think it's good. I'm gonna throw this thing in. Just gonna pop this in. Just like that. Let it rest there for a second. Remember, this side goes here. May have to fight with it a little bit to get it to go in, but we'll see. I like to just wiggle it a little bit. And that's in. Got the bolt in. Let me get this started. Like I said, I didn't mark any of this or try to put it back how it was. I'm taking it in to get an alignment, so that's why. And right now, I'm not even going to tighten all this down because I'm just getting it started. What's going on here? Okay. Just pushing this thing in and make sure the rusty side's out. This is kind of loose right now. Just got it up and out of the way. Well, that's the upper section put in. Now what I got to do is I got to change this ball joint out. This lower one, upper one's pretty much, it's changed out. I just got to, you know, throw this back on and torque everything to spec. But I'm leaving this loose for now. I'm going to tighten it all up when I got it loaded up, but that's where I'm at. Getting ready to press out this lower ball joint. It's hard to see on my camera, and it's kind of overcast and a little dark outside, but on the top part of this ball joint it has two little eyes on it, and normally you stick a snap ring pliers in and you spread it out and you pull this clip off. But for removing them, about the way I like to do it, I just grab a screwdriver, go in there like that, and just pop the sucker off like this. You can see how fast that is. Boom, it's off. See? That's how I get those off. But you could, these are the holes, if you have the right tool, which I do. I was just too lazy to go inside and get it. But you stick your snap ring pliers in, spread it out, and then pull it off. Also, one thing to notice on this ball joint, the snap ring where the groove is, it's actually about a quarter of an inch, not quite a quarter, about 3/16 of an inch up past this metal. So, like, I mean, where the, if you see like how And it's pretty high above it. So the one you push in should be about the same, but there's quite a bit of a gap between there. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this grease fitting, because I'm going to use my press. I'm going to press this off. Like I said, this is where I'm going to be pressing at, so I don't want it to be in my way. One thing I like to do is kind of get some crap out of the groove there, just a little bit, nothing fancy, but there's a lot of crap in this thing. Just a quick wipe down. If you got a wire brush, you may wire brush it, but throw a little WD on there. And okay, well, as I said, some people, they just get a hammer and they freaking beat these things out, which that works. Some people rig up a pipe and a C-clamp, or I've seen a lot of ways. Some people use an air hammer and pop them out, but you know, they make a C-clamp. See, as you can see, I got it to move. I was just showing you guys. That method does work, but I'm going to use the right tool. I just wanted to show you guys that's possible to beat it out like that. But anyway, I'm going to get the press. Especially if you had like a 2.5 pound hammer, it'd drive it right out. But I was just demonstrating. You can see I actually moved it. But I'm going to use the right tool now. Okay, so in order to press this out, you got to find something that this thing can, the bottom of this part can fit through. You see there's like a hole there, and just you got to find something that'll go over everything and rest up against the bottom side of the metal. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different adapters, and there may be more than one that'll work. Just figure out whatever works for you. Now this thing fits in there like that, and essentially the way I'm going to do it may not be the right way. There may be other ways, but this is the way I'm doing it. This fitting here, this little ring will sit in this ring, and basically I'm going to drive this down and push it out of that thing, and this will push, this screw will screw down on top of this part and pop it out. Hopefully, at least that's what I'm planning. So I'm going to try to get this set up. It takes a little while. Let me see. So you get that lined up, and it's in. Screw this down nice and tight. I actually like to make my C-press rest up against here, so when I'm tightening this, it'll work right. Let me back this up so you can kind of see it a little more. There's the screw head. So I'm just going to stick my, this is 7/8 or 22 millimeter, and just start tightening, cranking this thing down, and this fits over on the underside. This pushes it down, so this should pop out and fall into there, hopefully. At least that's how it's supposed to work. I think. I just gotta find my, this my 7/8. Yep. So, Like I said, if this don't work, I'll just go back to the hammer and beat this thing out. Make sure that's on there. Well, I'm gonna have to use a breaker bar. It's handy to have an impact when you're doing this, because really you got to put some muscle behind this sucker. You scored a little more WD in there. Maybe give it a tap. There it went. Boom. See that? Pop free. You guys hear that? Now it should go easy. So you can see it pushing it. It's going. Just give it a whole lot easier with an impact. She's out. That's how you do it. As you can see, she's out of there. That one's super bad. That's a really bad ball joint. Really bad. Okay, I'm gonna clean this up a little bit and get it ready. Okay, got that cleaned out best I could. It's kind of rusty, but got the hole cleaned out. I'm going to be using this right here. Here's my lower ball joint, made by Moog. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but here's a part number. I think it was the same from both sides. This is what the new ball joint looks like. This is a Moog design. And one thing to take note of is right here it says mount inboard. Inboard means you want this thing to be facing towards the inside, because when you add grease to this right here, some of it's going to come out of right here at this crack where it says mount inboard, and grease will push out, and you want this grease to be as far away from your rotor and brakes as you can. You don't want to get a bunch of grease. So basically what I'm doing is I made a scratch. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I made a scratch in between where it says 301 and 5, so I know that when I'm pushing this in, it's got to be right like that. Okay, now the setup I'm going to try to use for this is this. This is the part I'm going to press on, and this is going to set. So this has got to fit into the metal part of the ball joint like that. Now the top part, this has to fit over this part so that it'll slide up into it, and I'll have this will fit in between the C-clamp hopefully. I don't know if this is enough room to fit it, but we'll see. If this doesn't work, I'll just have to come up with another configuration, but I think we're good. As I said, I want this to be facing outboard. And kind of get it to help get it started. I just give it a good press. Kind of just trying to work it in. Now that's in there, it'll kind of stay on its own. So now just gotta set this up. I'm sorry you guys, what happened was my freaking memory card was filled up right in the middle of me pressing this thing in. Basically this part would fit onto this part, and you know, this using this press, this part was sitting flush on this part, and this part was up against the metal, so this was actually driving on the flange of the ball joint itself. Okay, and this part was slipped over this, so the ball joint can go up inside, and this was sitting like this, and I was pushing right here so that the bottom part would press up. Let me find the ball joint just to show you guys. Alright, here's the old one. Let me show you what I mean by pressing up on it. Basically this is the same way, like this part was here. It goes through the bottom and it's up against the flange, the metal part, so it's pushing the metal part up. Okay, so let me show you how this goes. As I said, you gotta get this. This goes in the bottom, so I barely just have enough room. Then I just push this down here. Okay, that's how that goes. Then I just tighten the top part here, and this part presses up, and then the ball joint slides up into the top part. Hope that makes sense. But essentially I just set it up just like this, and then start tightening down right there. So you just start pulling, and this, when you do that, it drives it up in. Hope that makes sense. Alright, I'm going to try to throw this snap ring in. Alright, well, got it in. Well, as I said before, when I was this is about 3/16 of an inch higher than what it was, so I think it's pressed up all the way, about the same as it was. So I'm going to actually put this in the back like that. Well, now I'm going to get this grease fitting put in. Pop that out. think I'm ready to put everything back together.